Everything comes to building something meaningful in your life, whether it's financial freedom, personal growth, or a better mindset, investment. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is learning to keep your plans to yourself. We live in a world where it's almost natural to announce every single move on social media or to share our next big step with friends just to feel validated. But here's the truth: silence protects your vision. The moment you speak it out, you open the door to other people's opinions and doubts, and sometimes even negativity. That noise can pull you off track before you even take the first step. The discipline of keeping your next move private keeps your energy focused where it matters most, on execution. Now, let's talk about discipline, because that's where growth happens. Telling people you're going to save money, start a business, or get in shape feels good in the moment. You get a little hit of validation just by saying it out loud. But validation without action is nothing. Discipline, everything makes a good investment, on the other hand, doesn't need attention. It's waking up every morning and choosing to follow through even when nobody's watching. It's saying no to instant gratification and yes to long-term growth. Investment. And the beauty is, when you stay consistent, you don't have to talk about what you're doing. Your results will eventually reveal it. Another reason silence is powerful is that it shields you from external pressure and comparison. The second you put your plans out there, people start watching, judging, and sometimes even hoping you'll fail. Investment, that creates pressure you don't need. Growth is already hard enough without the weight of outside expectations. By keeping things private, you free yourself from that burden. You're not competing with anyone. Investment, you're not explaining yourself to anyone. You're simply building at your own pace, in your own way, without unnecessary distractions. That's how real progress happens, quietly behind the scenes. Event. And here's the most important part: results make the loudest impact. You don't need to tell the world you're disciplined. You don't need to announce that you're building wealth, improving your health, investment, or changing your mindset. When you put in the work consistently, those results will speak for themselves. People will see the difference in how you live, how you carry yourself, and what you've built. And success doesn't need a microphone. It needs patience, focus, and discipline. And when it shows, it speaks louder than any announcement ever could. So remember this: never tell people your next move. Make such a good investor vision. Let discipline guide your steps. Block out the noise and trust that your results will tell the story better than words ever can. When you set a goal, investment, when you have that spark of an idea or that vision for the next chapter of your life, there's always a temptation to share it right away. You want to tell your friends, your family, maybe even post it online. Why? Everything makes a good investment because it feels good. Talking about what you're going to do gives you a small hit of pride, almost like you've already achieved it. But here's the problem: the moment you put that plan into the open, investment, it no longer belongs just to you. Suddenly, you've given other people the chance to judge it, criticize it, or even unintentionally plant doubt in your mind. That's why silence is so powerful. Everything makes a good investment. By keeping your vision private, you protect it from being diluted before it has a chance to grow. Think of your idea as a seed. When you plant it in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to show everyone. You water it, protect it, and let it grow quietly until one day it's strong enough to be seen. The same is true with your goals. If you share them too early, investment, you risk exposing them to voices that don't understand your vision. People may tell you it's too risky, too ambitious, or not worth the effort. And while some of them mean well, investment, their doubts can easily start to creep into your own thinking. Over time, that can weaken your motivation and pull you away from the very thing you were so determined to build. Another reason to stay silent is that people often confuse talking with doing. When you say, "I'm going to start saving money," or "I'm going to launch a business," it can feel like progress. But words don't move you forward. Actions do. And here's the twist: when you tell people your plans, your brain feels rewarded just from their reaction. Investment. It's almost as if you've gotten credit for something you haven't even done yet. That sense of satisfaction tricks you into believing you've already accomplished part of the goal. And in many cases, it kills the urgency to actually follow through. By staying quiet, you remove that false reward and keep the pressure where it belongs, on consistent action. Silence also gives you clarity. No one else knows what you're working on. You're free from expectations. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to justify your timeline, good investment, and you don't have to measure up to anyone's standards. You can adjust, pivot, or even fail in private without the weight of other people's eyes on you. That privacy gives you the room to experiment and grow without unnecessary noise clouding your focus. At the end of the day, everything makes a good investment. Protecting your vision isn't about being secretive. It's about being disciplined enough to nurture it in the right environment. Your goals don't need applause before they're achieved. They need action, focus, and time. And when the results finally show, that's when you let the world see what you've been building all along. The truth is, discipline will always say more about you than any words ever could. You can tell people about your plans all day long, but what really matters is whether or not you're willing to show up consistently when it's difficult, when it's inconvenient, and when no one is paying attention. That's what separates people who dream from people who build. Discipline doesn't ask for recognition. It thrives in silence. It's the quiet decision to keep showing up, to keep doing the work, investment, and to keep moving forward even when the results aren't immediate. There's something almost deceptive about talking. When you say, I'm going to get in shape, or I'm going to save money this year, if it feels like progress, people might clap for you, encourage you, or tell you how proud they are that you're taking that step. Investment. But none of that moves you closer to the goal. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't feel glamorous. It's the decision to wake up early when you'd rather sleep in. It's choosing to cook a simple meal at home instead of spending money on food you don't need. It's deciding to study, work, or practice even when motivation is nowhere to be found. Investment. That's not exciting to talk about, but it's the only thing that builds momentum. And the truth is, discipline isn't about one big effort. It's about hundreds of small choices stacking up over time. No one becomes financially free overnight. No one transforms their body in a single week. And no one develops a strong mindset after just one tough day. Discipline is boring in the moment, but powerful in the long run. Good investment. It's what keeps you consistent when motivation fades. And it's what eventually turns into visible results that people can't ignore. When you live with discipline, investment, everything makes a good investment. You don't need to tell anyone what you're working on. They'll see it. They'll see it in the way you carry yourself, in the progress you've made, investment, and in the results that speak louder than any announcement ever could. You don't need to broadcast that you're saving money when your investments begin to grow. Investment. You don't need to tell people you're improving your health when your energy, strength, and confidence show it for you. Investment. You don't need to explain what you're building when your lifestyle becomes proof of the work you've put in. That's the beauty of discipline. It replaces the need for validation with the reality of results. Good investment. You stop caring about what people think in the short term because you know what you're building will speak for itself in the long term. It's not about the noise you make. It's about the consistency you maintain. And when you choose discipline every single day, your growth becomes undeniable. One of the most overlooked benefits of keeping your next move private is that it shields you from unnecessary pressure and the trap of comparison. The moment you announce your plans, whether it's starting a business, investment, working on your fitness, or saving for a big financial goal, you invite the attention of others. And with that attention comes opinions, sometimes encouragement, but often criticism, doubt, or subtle pressure that you didn't ask for. Suddenly, you're no longer just focused on your own journey. You're carrying the weight of other people's expectations, and that can quickly drain your energy and shift your focus away from what really matters. External pressure can make you feel like you're racing against a clock that someone else set. Good investment. People start asking how it's going when they'll see results and why it's taking so long. And even if they mean well, those questions can create stress that isn't necessary. Growth is already challenging. Success already requires sacrifice. The last thing you need is the added burden of explaining yourself every step of the way. By keeping your moves private, you eliminate that layer of distraction. You create space where the only timeline that matters is yours, and the only person you have to answer to is yourself. Then there's the issue of comparison. The moment you tell others what you're working on, you open yourself up to being compared whether you like it or not. Maybe someone you know tried the same thing and quit. Maybe someone else is already ahead of you. And just like that, instead of focusing on your own progress, you're looking sideways, measuring yourself against others. But comparison is poison to growth. It either makes you feel behind or it gives you a false sense of superiority that kills your drive. Neither one helps you move forward. Privacy protects you from that because no one knows what to compare you to. Investment. You get to stay locked in on your own lane, running your own race at your own pace. And let's not forget that not everyone wants to see you win. Some people, consciously or not, project their own insecurities onto your plans. They might laugh at your idea, call it unrealistic, or quietly hope you don't succeed just so they can feel better about themselves. Makes a good investment. Sharing your goals too early gives them that chance to plant seeds of doubt in your mind. And once doubt creeps in, it's hard to get rid of. But when you keep things private, you protect your mindset. A good investment, an investment. You make it harder for negativity to reach you because no one can attack what they don't know about. At the end of the day, staying private about your next move isn't about hiding. It's about focus. It's about keeping your energy on building instead of explaining, comparing, or defending. And when you stay focused like that, you give yourself the best possible chance to succeed on your own terms. One of the most important reasons to keep your plans to yourself is that it protects you from external pressure and the constant trap of comparison. A moment you tell people what you're working on, whether it's a financial goal, a fitness plan, or a personal project, you immediately open the door to outside influence. Some people will offer advice. Some will encourage you, but many will pass judgment or express doubt, even if it's subtle. That judgment can be distracting, and it has the power to slow you down without you even realizing it. Growth requires focus, and focus is much easier to maintain when your plans stay private. When others know what you're doing, expectations begin to build. People will ask about progress, timelines, or results, and you might start feeling pressured to meet those expectations, even if the timing isn't right. It shifts your attention from the work itself to managing opinions and appearances. That's energy you don't need to waste. The reality is that building something meaningful, whether it's wealth, health, or skills, already demands more than enough effort. Investment. You don't need additional stress from explaining yourself or justifying your choices. Privacy gives you the freedom to move at your own pace, make adjustments when necessary, and stay aligned with your personal vision without the noise of other people's concerns. Comparison is another silent killer. The moment you share your goals, investment, it's easy for your mind to start measuring yourself against others. Maybe someone else is already farther along in a similar project, or maybe they've achieved something you're aiming for. That comparison can create frustration, self-doubt, or even impatience. In some cases, it can make you second-guess your own decisions or abandon your plan entirely. By keeping your moves private, investment, you remove that external benchmark. You stop measuring your progress against someone else's story and start measuring it against your own growth, your own standards, and your own timeline. That perspective is crucial for staying motivated and focused. Keeping your goals private also shields you from negative energy. Not everyone wants to see you succeed. Investment. And sometimes people's doubts or criticisms come from their own insecurities. When you announce your plans too early, you give them an opportunity to project that negativity onto you. That can be discouraging and can shake your confidence if you're not careful. By staying silent, you remove the influence of those outside voices and protect your mindset. You build resilience in private investment. So when it's time to show results, you're stronger, more prepared, and fully committed to your vision. At the end of the day, keeping your plans to yourself isn't about secrecy, it's about focus. Investment, it's about protecting your energy, avoiding unnecessary comparisons, and staying disciplined in your pursuit of growth. When you master the ability to work quietly and consistently, you give yourself the clearest path to success.